Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Our producer Samantha's here. Hello, Sam.
Hello.
Now you have one of the new team color shirts.
I do.
A Tom and Dan team color shirt that you're wearing.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, you look very, very proud of your 2-1 Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Looking
We're
good.
doing all right.
Yeah, not bad at all.
My team shirt came out like the Gators.
Yeah,
and
you're
I'm
right.
the Dolphins.
Yeah,
and I'm mad about it.
And I don't want to wear mine
And
because
I yelled at Tony. And,
Tony?
Yeah. And Tony didn't even do
He didn't
it.
do it.
Well, I yell at Tony for everything.
And
It's just
I was
more
like, find the Dolphins. And they're like, no, they don't have them. They don't have the turquoise. I'm like, oh!
Blue and orange.
They got all of them.
I like to yell at Tony so much that while I'm yelling at him via Zoom, I can see tears welling up in his eyes. And then I tell him, if one tear comes down your cheek, then you're really getting it. That's how we run our business.
Eric did a great job trying to go through all 32 teams and match the colors.
Yeah,
It was
it's
just
impossible.
I've been telling him as I'm driving, like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's impossible. It's impossible to do it.
Yeah. But anyway, you could try to order your team colors. We got the majority of them on TomandDan.com.
Close enough is
Okay.
what I like to call
Yeah.
it, because even this red isn't quite as bright as the Bucks, but it's fine.
Yeah, it looks good, though.
And another cool thing we're doing is we talked to Piff, the Magic Dragon, the famous magician, and he's doing these virtual shows. So October 17th, right now they're not for sale on his site, but the link's up on our social media. And we're just basically telling all BDMs and all listeners if they want to watch, it's going to be 7 p.m. October 17th. It's family friendly. I'm going to have my boys watch
I'm going to do it from my house. You're going to do it from your
Yeah.
house. It's a nice little laid back Piff party. It's going to be fun, man.
It's only
And
$25.
$25 per household.
Yeah,
so
Which
you
is
can host your own watch
ridiculously-
party if you want.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
ridiculously a value.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, that's insane that you and the guy's the nicest guy you'd ever meet. But
Yeah,
you didn't
yeah.
hear that from me because his bit is he's grumpy, but I like him a lot.
So basically, we're just all going to watch it together, the whole show, and then any BDMs that want to join us. Again, October 17th at 7 p.m. The link's on the BDM page right now, but it will be on social media.
It'll start leaking
And
out.
I threw it in the Twitch chat. So.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
and this will sell out. Absolutely
Most
will.
likely.
Yeah.
So I'm just throwing that out there. If you have the link and you're even mildly interested, it's $25, and your family, kid friendly, they will love it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Our next guest, my daughter and I are obsessed with their products, and I've been using. I put a bar in our kitchen bathroom, and me and May love their handmade soaps. We absolutely love them.
I'm not too familiar with soap.
I know.
I don't know if you know this.
Yeah, I know.
Now, to be fair, they sent us some samples of the soap, and we all took some home, except for Tom, which says something. His are actually sitting right in front
Well,
of him.
I kept mine for this interview.
Oh, okay.
And then I looked in the bag. I was like, "Oh, there's rice in mine."
Well, you can also eat it.
But that's how it's supposed to. But that's how it's supposed to be.
You got me with that. I thought you put rice in your soap and I was going to punch you in the face. I'm like, why would you embarrass me like that?
No. It's just a handmade.
All right, let's interview our guest here. We have Jason Woods on the line via Skype, and his buddy Nas, not the rapper. I don't know Nas's last name, but when you have a name like Nas, I don't think you use a last name, right?
No.
You're not like Nas Johnson.
I wish you were.
Nas Johnson.
Are you Nas Johnson? Please be.
It's like Pitbull.
Yeah, I think you just run with Nas. But hey, guys, thanks so much for Skyping in and being on the show, and thanks so much for the free soap. And I really, really love it. It's a handmade plant-based soap that you guys started making, but this isn't like. I mean, normally, are both of you guys music producers? Do you both of you musicians and run in that world, right? Not the soap world.
Play just working musicians around town, and I have a recording studio, but we just work making music and playing around town, at Disney and the parks and things like that. And that's been a difficult thing to do lately.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the only band that I know of that's even on premises is Mariachi Cobre. And they were put on that stage in Epcot. But a lot of my other buddies that play in a lot of those roaming bands, they're so awesome. I mean, you're talking top tier, amazing, best of the best musicians that are now out of work, instantly out of work.
Especially this week, they've had
that
more
is very
layoffs.
true.
It hurts my heart, and even the guys in mariachi, they're buddies of mine, and they listen to the show, and I was talking to them, and it hurts their heart.
Yeah.
You know, how do you think they feel? They're like, we've been here 40 years, and all of our friends are gone, but we're on the stage. You and I have been in a situation where we've seen massive cuts in radio.
Yeah.
And it's not fun for even the people that still keep their jobs. You know what I mean? It's
you're never like, yes.
no. You remember you and I like would have to come in and do a show after we just found out friends of ours don't have a job anymore. So anyway, you guys are working musicians, you're doing your thing. Very difficult to do. Had you already been dabbling in soap making?
Yes. Actually, Woodsy or Jason had invited me over to make soap. I garden and do a lot of handmade things myself, and we were kind of like united through that. And he asked me if I'd be interested in making soap, and we started making it every year as like gifts for our friends and family, as well as our year's amount of soap for ourselves.
Yeah.
Eventually, our friends started asking for it after the gifts ran out and wanted to buy it from us, and we were running out of soap sooner and sooner. So this last year, we decided to do it for real and actually make enough soap for our friends and to make them look nicer. We were doing them before, like in muffin tins and random things. Now more seriously.
In December, the idea was to make enough soap to give our friends and for us to use, and maybe start like an Etsy side hustle kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was going to be more of a hobby, just that we really enjoyed, and just the whole world flipped upside down. And I worked so hard to just get a real full-time career as a musician, and I just went from like 200 gigs a year to I haven't even played probably 20 gigs since March. So it's been a total change of lifestyle.
Yeah, and since we're talking about it, and I like to say this a lot, you can go to cleanlisteningsoaps.com and check it out. I honestly don't know what bar I have. It's a green swirly bar that I have.
Yeah, that's a Trailblazer scent.
Okay, and it's got like a little bit of a fine, like almost like a grit in it a little bit.
Yeah, we like to say just the right amount.
I love it. Me and my daughter, that is the official soap of little girls who like to catch lizards. That is...
yeah, exactly.
Because she gets real dirty, and we have one of our other clients. We have a hydroponic. I'm blanking on the name right now. Sorry.
Orlando Hydroponics.
Thank you, Orlando Hydroponics. And so Joe set me up with this amazing system, and May goes out there, and you can get a little algae on your hands, and you get a little gritty, and then she usually loses interest and then goes off to catch lizards while I'm tending to it, right?
Yeah.
But she gets really nasty, and I love this soap. I love the scent of it, and for whatever reason, it gives me that feeling of like actually being clean.
It's a great mix of oils. We kind of did some R&D with developing these soaps and coming up with the right mix of things. It's got a mixture of our coconut oil, sustainable palm oil, canola oil, olive oil, castor oil, and vitamin E. And then some of the bars have different fragrances, essential oils, hummus, of course.
So I wanted to ask you guys about that. What is the process of making soap?
I learned it from Fight Club.
Well, I
was going to bring that up.
The first thing you got to do is you got to kill a whale.
Yeah. or find a liposuction clinic.
Yeah.
Trust me, back in college, they called me the whale killer. You know what I mean?
So just
I'm sorry.
Just from movies and Fight Club, I understand that fat or some sort of oil, which you mentioned a bunch of oil, has to be involved. But what else? What is the key ingredient to soap? Is it just
don't
oil
say
or
love?
fat?
Don't say love.
So, honestly, ironically, you bring that up because I learned to make soap from my grandma.
Cool.
And she, this is way back. She made it. We lived on a ranch in South Dakota.
What?
And so what they would do in the winter is they would slaughter a hog and a steer every winter, and she would render the fat from those and make lye soap out of it, and she'd use it all year long. So, needless to say, Naz and I don't slaughter any hogs and steers to make our soap.
Yeah, it is farm free.
But yeah, it's basically a process of blending oils with lye, because it's a simple lye soap. So it's just they call it a cold process soap, but you blend the right amounts of the oils with the lye, and then you have to stir the liquid for a long time until it starts to what they call trace and gets a little thick, and then you add your colorants, your fragrances, your essential oils, infusions, anything like that, your pumice. And then sometimes, you'll notice like there's swirl designs in our soaps and stuff like that. Sometimes we'll pull a little bit of that out, add a color, and then swirl the colors or create patterns in it. It's kind of each one's kind of a unique thing. So
I love it.
And so all this is heated, and then when it cools, then it hardens into the bar.
So we heat up the oil and the lye to a similar temperature. And what happens, so like the saponification is the reaction where the word soap comes from, is the reaction of the lye and the oil of a similar temperature being activated together, and it causes the oil molecules to saponify. And the result of that is what we call soap. So once they fully saponify, the lye and the water all leave the bar after curing for up to 6 weeks after we make so we do them, they pour them, it's all liquid, turns hard. A couple days later, we cut it. A month later, they're ready for use.
That's nuts, man. I had no idea that the process, I never knew the process of soap. I mean, it's one of those things that I use every morning.
These bars that you guys have, we actually make, there's a mold that it's a big square. It's about 12 of those bars in one. So that that's cut from something that's 12 times bigger. And that's cut from, that's 1/4 the size of the one in the other hand.
Okay, gotcha. I was just about to ask you guys about size. Because
Iago,
there
he goes.
So, okay, follow me with this, and I don't know if you guys are soap historians or anything, if like you actually know the history of soap. But
what, are you about to tell us?
No. But I'm gonna guess that, like, all right, everybody knows the standard bar size of soap, right?
You do.
And I imagine that was like the reason why we think that that's the standard size is because of big corporations like selling soap for so long. They figured out like they probably
hand size too.
Size. They probably whittled it down. Like the less they, and the more the price point, and so
then you wrap it in paper so you have some air in there to make the bar look bigger.
Yeah. So then they finally, all the corporations, everybody kind of got to the similar size bar of soap that they all sell, and so but I like the bigger. Bars of soap.
You're American. Bigger's better,
right?
Also, I just like the aspect that I could like use my whole hand to rub on it.
Whoa.
Anyway, so sizes, quantities of single bars of soap, is that kind of, am I right of like how it evolved to like what we know of today?
You are right about the corporate aspect. When they're even trimming corners off it to make them more round, they've saved more soap on making a bar. But when it came to us, we wanted soap is, we're not reinventing the wheel necessarily. We're doing our own thing to the wheel, but everyone has a bar of soap. All of the competitors you look out there, it's a 5-ounce bar of soap, 4-ounce bar of soap. That's about the size you're talking about. We wanted something that was a little bit more memorable. And like even with our branding, like we kind of like music infused or vinyl infused, that idea of like, that feeling you get when you hold a vinyl up, that physical media, it's much bigger than a CD. We want to create not a soap bar, but a soap slab. Something that when you hold it has like a feeling to it. It's not like any bar soap you ever held. And like they last long, and they're, like you said, it's just a visceral experience as well.
I got another question I can imagine as well, because I have a corporate minded brain with greed and stomp on the little guy.
You're fueled by greed.
Fueled by greed and
drunk with power.
Yeah, all that.
And you're also just slightly racist. See, now I'm just trying to make them laugh.
So I can imagine as well the big corporate soap people, they've made their soap like dissolve or disintegrate faster.
Yes.
So that
I've been using their bar of soap for so long, and me and Maisie, we go in there every afternoon and we scrub our hands, because that's what you do when you get home from school, right? First thing you do when you enter the house, wash your hands, stay clean, 20 seconds, say your ABCs.
Like I can imagine if you're Big Ivory that you're sitting you're
sitting in your ivory tower.
Add puns to
You're sitting in your ivory tower, dialing up your zesty friend.
So I can imagine they've had long conversations with the scientists and the people that put the manufacturers about like making the soap dissolve faster.
Have you seen the other things they do now on my dial bars that I had?
Yeah.
They carve like
They carve the word dial out so they less soap.
Well, that's less soap,
Yeah.
but then they carve the side so it's like ergonomic for like your hand.
Yeah.
That's less soap.
Yeah,
Everything is a scam, dude. I want a big giant bar of soap with a little bit of pumice in it and some rice.
So anyway,
I love that you call it rice. I think it's hilarious.
long question short is your guys' soap will last longer because corporate soap is probably made to dissolve faster and deteriorate faster so they could sell more soap, right?
Yeah. I don't think we even have the technology to crunch the numbers that they've crunched.
A lot of times too, it's the blend. People have shea butter and coconut oil. They're softer. If they get wet, they're just naturally. Yes, like you said. I don't know if it's part of the design to get you to buy it sooner or not. But yeah, it depends on what you're making it out of. Some bars of soap, like we have a gentle skin soap made out of mostly olive oil. That thing's a rock. If you think these last long, like that will last even twice as long. It like hardly seems to dissolve, and just because it's more olive oil. So the blend really makes a difference in the hardness of the soap. And we had the idea of like wholesale size. Like you're for a consumer for the price that we sell the whole bar, you get more soap at a higher quality and volume than you would anywhere,
Yeah. And when you talk about the soaps like Dial, they've got so many different additives in that kind of soap. Nothing against
you can even read the ingredients.
The good folks at Dial, but
thank you.
The thing I like about Dial is I can rub it on my arm with some water, and then my skin will gently flake off.
And then nothing's cleaner than new skin.
It's so dry underneath. My goodness. Do you guys have the ability to make a Tom and Dan soap on a rope?
Honestly, we do.
Yes, we do, actually.
My dad had a soap on a rope.
It's doing custom bars like that for if you have a brand or something like that, we do
small batch custom orders.
We want a long rope, like a dookie chain, like a wrapper.
Tom and Dan
long,
soap.
That's fine. I mean,
a long ass dookie rope.
We'll just infuse a bar of soap at the end of a lariat.
I want it to be a soap amulet. Okay, I want a huge soap amulet, and then I want it long.
You know what my meemaw used to have, which I accidentally ate one because I thought it was chocolate, is she used to have a bowl of decorative white shell soaps.
Tom.
Like guest soap, yeah.
That were in her guest bathroom. They were like all just like soaps molded to look like shells.
And
you think it was white chocolate?
And then Tom goes in there and he's like,
in the bathroom?
somebody left a Whitman sampler in here.
I was a 25-year-old kid. I didn't know that.
I was a 25-year-old.
It's an easy mistake.
Those will be coming out in our Werther's original brand.
Exactly. Candy flavor.
I want to make little Tom and Dan head
Soaps?
Molded soaps.
Yeah, we could do that. We'd have to buy them the molds, but
Yeah, if you supply the mold, that'd be.
Yeah, I don't want them on the hook for molds. Got to be expensive as hell.
We'll talk to you.
Possible, really.
Let's do a bust of our body.
Full.
Yeah, like Mozart.
Yeah, you could do a tire soap bust for sure.
You can have a Mount Rushmore of soap.
So what we're gonna
but
need?
Full size, full weight. I want a 177-pound bust of me nude, made of soap.
Okay, what about?
And we'll sell it.
What about a soap fleshlight?
That's brilliant.
That is brilliant.
You put it in, take it
Although-
out, good to go.
It's
Will
hard.
that give the burning?
No, the Bernie.
The burning sensation.
Oh, yeah.
Already got the slogan. It's put it in, take it out. Is it clean? There is no doubt.
That's a good slogan.
I think you guys have put more thought into that than we have.
I mean, if you want to count 4 seconds.
And it won't get mold dots like my real fleshlight.
Yeah, Tom had a fleshlight that got mold dots. Will your soap with pumice scrub the mold off of his masturbation sleeve?
Yeah, the pumice might get right off.
Yeah, I can't say we've researched that, but yeah.
I'm sorry.
So we keep calling, and we'll be running out of time soon. But we keep calling this on the back rice, and it's not rice. What is it?
Yeah.
So you have our Orlando City bar, so it's like the colors of purple, gold, and white.
Yeah.
And it's infused with lavender. So it's lavender flowers, little bitty, like the ends of the flowers is broken up. With like the stringy ones is calendula. So it's a calendula lavender, and the scent is lavender cedar. Ooh. And it's infused with calendula oil and our own. We actually did our own lavender infusion. That thing it smells great. It scrubs good, and
I like it.
it's like a tribute to our City Beautiful.
Oh,
Awesome.
man, I love
Well,
that. That's really cool.
Here's the thing. I like your guys' story. You know, you're musicians, producers that, have this hobby, and you're like, well, I got to pivot. I got to, let's start selling some soaps.
And we can support them by buying their soaps. We buy some of their soaps. We get clean. They get some coin. Maybe they build this huge soap empire and take us along with them, man. That's what I want. I want to quit doing this and work at the soap people.
Yeah. The only problem is all your soaps will last 7 to 8 years. And then you're like, no, repeat customers.
They're like Crocs. You're the Crocs of soaps.
Yeah, this bar, based on.
Well, you would use that bar until you're dead.
Oh yeah. I only wash my muffin. I
Yeah.
don't wash my legs. Really, it's my.
You wash your belly area and your genitals, and then everything else is water.
Yeah,
What about
water.
your butt ass?
Yeah. I get
He gets at it.
I'll get the rice in there.
Oh,
Uh-oh, it smells in here. Get the rice. Scrub your butt ass.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Hey, guys, thanks so much for the time. CleanListeningSoaps.com. CleanListeningSoaps.com. Go on there, support local, support these cool guys that make soaps. They gave us some soaps. The least you can do is go on there and buy some bars for your family. And it's really good soap. That's the best part is I love it.
All natural, plant-based, cool.
Indeed. Well, hey, fellas, have a great rest of your day, and thanks so much for being on the program.
Yeah, thank you.
Our pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you very much.
Take care. That is Jason and Naz from Clean Listening Soaps.
Yep.
Yeah, I like stories like that of, especially guys that can pivot. Like you're like, well, we know how to make soap. Let's start selling soap.
Yeah.
And I like these small batch. Like my.
Why don't you give that to your wife?
I know I should. Yeah, she'll like it. She
Put it
loves
in there.
it. Yeah,
Her, She has that
it's
fancy
been
bathtub.
sitting here for you to take home.
She has that fancy bathtub. It's lavender. It smells good. And why don't you? Hey, why don't you
this
do?
one.
Why don't you do this? Open it up because it looks pretty. Open it up and lay it on like a towel, and then put a little note card under it, and then write, "Here's
All
a bar of
natural,
soap.
plant-based.
Tonight, let me give you a bath."
That's too awkward.
Why? Butler's coming into bullying. Butler, what are you
give
laughing
you a
at?
bath when
Would
she
you do it, Butler?
Toddler? What do you mean?
No,
Give my wife
like
a bath?
wash her back, like
Yeah.
Bridges of Madison County.
Wash
get
her
in there,
hair.
get in there
No.
behind her, wash her hair, put some conditioner
that
in
butt.
it, soap that butt up, and then ride that donkey.
Wash her back and hair.
Sorry, Sam.
It's like
No, women like that. You're
That's
pampering her. You're showing her affection.
I know, but it's a little nursing home, right?
No, it's not. It's only nursing
Not
home
unless
if
you make it weird.
It's only nursing home if you have to take off her oxygen to flip her.
I just like.
Now, let me check your sores.
But, okay, here's the thing.
You don't like anything fun. I'm trying to get you laid.
It's so far out of my character and what I do that she would get weirded out by it. I can't even tell you what I did the other day.
Why not?
Oh, we almost got there. It was on the tip of his tongue, and he pushed it back down in his stomach.
I can't say it on the show
All right.
because there's no way to say. I have to tell you Friday.
I like that.
Write
Write down. I'll have to tell you Friday.
Write down. I turned around in the shower and stared at it.
Oh. Okay. Well, we got to take a break.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan.
So, probably a month ago or 2 months ago, got an email from a BDM who works for a company that dealt with cryptocurrency, and they sent me an email, and they're like, hey, this company is coming to Florida, and here's, so normally, like, I don't know anything about cryptocurrency. I know that we got BDM, like a BDM crypto page, and a
We got
bunch of my friends.
A lot of listeners are into it. Local comedian, well, not local anymore, moved off to Las Vegas. I know our buddy Mike Charrette's really into cryptocurrency and like dabbles in it.
And all I've ever known is like the really BitCoin, obviously.
I don't fully understand it, so I'm pretty excited to actually talk to our next guest.
So, and the reason, and normally I probably would have been like, I'm not into it, don't have time. But I need to get into it. And
because
I need
of your
to,
addiction.
Because of my gambling. And if you want to gamble on any offshore accounts, which is totally legal, by the way, you need.
Oh my God, you are becoming my grandpa. No, because your teeth are whistling now. I heard it. It was like, I heard a. And I'm like, Grandpa's here. His dentures are whistling.
And so I was motivated to learn more about cryptocurrency and how to use it for gambling purposes. So then I actually used and signed up for this particular company, which is called Binance.us. And it's an exchange, and I learned all about it. I sat here after work one day and read it. And then signed up and went through the process.
It was almost like you were reading a manual. I was pretty proud of him because he never's read a manual in his life, Sam, and he was actually sitting there.
If I'm motivated,
get this, he was reading something and learning it.
Wow,
unbelievable.
If it's something I'm into, I'll do.
That's
if
true.
I'm not into, I'm like, I can't. It's so hard.
I know.
Anyway, so. To talk about all this, and because it's pretty interesting, the stuff I learned, and it's pretty cool, with the CEO of Binance.us, Catherine Coley, and we're just going to call her Coley because we're friends now. How you doing, Coley?
Wow.
We're that close.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks so much for the time, for being on the show, and helping us understand a little bit more about I guess Binance and
crypto.
And I literally am the know nothing guy.
Yeah. So I guess Coley, let's start from the beginning. How did you become the CEO of Binance.us, and what is Binance.us?
Well, first of all, you hit the nail on the head with what crypto can provide. And for someone that has been easily distracted most of her whole life, I've stayed dead put on crypto for the last 3 years, and it has definitely paid off in terms of me being able to become the CEO of a great company and help other people like yourself learn more about it. So crypto has kept me busy as well. So I like to hear that that's what you did when you first started looking at it. It kind of zoomed in and had to start learning everything about it.
Yeah. And honestly, like people have probably heard cryptocurrency and BitCoin and stuff, and then they obviously remember the boom where people became millionaires or multimillionaires, and then but I it's hard to really. It's easy once you start reading about it. You get it, but it's hard to understand at first. But there are a lot of things that you could use cryptocurrency for nowadays, especially with the internet. I mean, like I said, I like to use it because now I can gamble with offshore books using Bitcoin and crypto, and that's how they do it. And but before it was too hard to transfer U.S. dollars. I had to buy Chinese through my credit card dollars that goes to Canadian dollars. It was this whole thing.
It was a mess. Yeah.
But with crypto, it makes it instant. But let's start with Binance.us. So what exactly is it?
Right. So I started getting into crypto really with the same pain points that you described, but for a little bit more of the regulated reasons. It was just really hard to move and access my money. And when I worked, working as hard as you want to be and a woman in finance trying to make it in the world, you're not spending your spare time looking into investments and being able to go down to your bank and access those funds and allocate them appropriately. So I really found crypto as that lightning bolt that said, hey, you can access this thing 24/7 after work, in your spare time, on a Saturday, 2 a.m., you name it. This currency is live, trading, and global. And that really got me super excited about cryptocurrency. So my prior life, I was a foreign exchange trader, which is what I thought was the Wild West of excitement, buying low, selling high, moving around the world's currencies. And there still was a lot of friction with it. And it was clunky. Only the top 1% got the best service and best fees. And then everyone else, had to go to their bank and get traveler's checks and lose money when they traveled. And, it was just a burden on the user themselves.
Gotcha. And here's what I found fascinating and I didn't understand, and maybe you can explain, but you guys just, federally? Well, in Florida, and does that go through the federal government? Is that state? How's that work?
Yeah, so Binance US is a digital asset marketplace, and we're available in 40 states now in the United States. And the regulation for operating a marketplace like ours is actually done at the state level. So we had to go state by state to get our licenses to operate. And that's when we were able to open up in Florida. We also opened up in Alabama and Georgia most recently too. So that was a process of kind of like applying for colleges or going through the process. You got to take your SATs, you got to have a good recommendation letter, write different essays per school or per state, and really get all your ducks in a row in order to say, I want to bring my business into your state.
Gotcha. And that's what kind of made me feel better, because honestly, and I'll like tell all our listeners the truth, like when I went to go sign up, because I signed up for a Binance and I'm now logged on a member, you have to, because it is your money and it's totally legit, it's verified through the state. You got to put in your
you got to put in information.
All your
it's like
personal
any other
information,
banking transaction. You're going to have to, because you're dealing with legitimate currency.
But at first, and then I did some research about how you guys are, the security and all the regulation and stuff to make sure, because I think just the word crypto.
Oh my God, I can't believe you did all these. You were actually an educated consumer.
Well, I just wanted to gamble, and then.
But can you imagine how successful our company would be if you put that much time and effort into this?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not interested in this.
No.
That's right. I forgot about that.
So, but I think, and tell me if you think this too. Just the word cryptocurrency and the fact that people don't quite understand it, I think people are scared of it.
Oh yeah.
If people are definitely scared of it, intimidated by it, think it's well, if it's crypto, it's not real. So I'm going to put in Minnie Mouse as my name and, take a picture of my friend for the picture. Yeah. Absolutely not. It's the better term, I guess, is digital assets or taking your funds and putting them into the internet. Gotcha. So it's going to be everything as strict as your regular bank. We hope you put your full legal name, your accurate state, the right information, because this is going to be just as good as the currency that you hold either under your mattress or at your bank or in your pocket.
Yeah,
it's just a different form of currency, and so also the thing that when I was doing my research, I didn't understand is like to even the most popular crypto, and correct me if I'm wrong, is Bitcoin. Is that right?
Bitcoin.
Okay,
yeah, absolutely.
So
the first one that's made it into people's minds and hearts for sure.
Gotcha. And then just to be able to buy Bitcoin, I think going through the process, a lot of people don't know, you can't just go and purchase Bitcoin from Bitcoin.com. You have to buy it through an exchange.
Yeah, the on-ramps into Bitcoin are trickier than people would expect. One, you could run and this is going to scare people, so that's part of the reason, but you could run this thing called a full node and be able to mine Bitcoin. And that's one way of receiving Bitcoin, which is really difficult and extremely hard to do. So not a lot of people are miners in Bitcoin, but it is available to do. The other way to do it is to buy it through these exchanges or marketplaces. So that's where you're converting your dollars into a digital form. And one of the possibilities is Bitcoin. So we make it a lot easier.
Gotcha. And just to explain, like basically Binance.us, like there's a US, like a portion of dollars in your, I guess, home screen, where once you deposit money, I'm like, okay, I got 1,000 US dollars. Like, I'm just gonna spell it out for you, Daniel.
Yeah.
So then my US dollars are here, and then all the different crypto are listed are here, and then I can buy. Like let's say I want to buy Bitcoin for gambling purposes. I want to buy Bitcoin, and then
stop saying that. There's other reasons for Bitcoin.
I know. I'm just personally, it's just what I'm just sorry, Coley. But
how good are you friends now?
We're friends. I mean, the best part about crypto is it's all for you. You control your funds. You control what you do with it. I just make sure how you access it is regulated for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
You're hurting your friend's feelings.
And so you could buy it for various different reasons, for purchasing other ththings, or just for
investment reasons.
Investment, because it's just like any market, it's up and down. You buy low, it goes higher. You make money. You could leave it in for long term. But then you can instantaneously transfer it back to US dollars, and then those US dollars just sit there.
That's
so
cool.
It's not like you have to buy it and then just leave it there and hopefully it goes or whatever. You can constantly back and forth as much as you want or invest it. It makes it pretty easy.
Yeah, it's like a little portal. It lets you go from your regular dollars into your digital dollars, back into your regular dollars, or back into your digital dollars.
Is it as volatile, or is it as crazy as like a normal a market or an exchange,
like another asset class, or like stocks.
Yeah,
yeah. So the interesting thing about crypto, Bitcoin was started about just a little bit over 10 years ago. So that's kind of wild that this technology has blossomed in all of our lives. Dollars or even gold came around way before I even was thought of. So it's nice to be able to see this kind of new wave of financial asset being birthed in our own lives, and being able to kind of figure out how it's going to be working for people.
Yeah.
So Bitcoin really does let you kind of see how it works, but there's actually almost 5,000 other coins out there. Binance US today offers over 50 of these cryptocurrencies that you can access with dollars really quickly, though.
And after Bitcoin, what are the other? I know there's Litecoin and there's some others, but what are the top five?
Yeah, the other kind of like cocktail crypto is kind of how I describe it, giving you like the 5 words you need to know to have a educated conversation around cryptocurrencies. You should probably know the words Ethereum. And Ethereum is kind of like this Play-Doh that lets you build different things out of that type of platform. So you can take Ethereum and then build something on top of it, and it look completely different from the other thing that you build on top of it. So that's why I kind of call it Play-Doh, because it's not just currency that you're going to be using for transactions or for store of value, but you can use it to build different things. Call it crypto kitties. That was like this digital kitty cat that showed up on people's computers. You could also build it to send different types of money to different people. Or we've had a big wave most recently in this thing called DeFi, or decentralized finance, where people can store or buy these different currencies on Ethereum, and it'll actually pay you back an interest or a yield, which is pretty fascinating when you think about your current savings account not giving you any percentage of APR.
Sure. What kind of like risks are there, or is it the same as it would be for anything that would be considered, quote, traditional, forms of,
or you're investing into a company, or like obviously they're stronger, if you're investing in a stock market into a mutual fund,
right.
Obviously it strengthens because you're diversifying in a
Sure.
bunch
Spreading
of different
it out,
companies, so it's not going to be as volatile. Has crypto kind of plateaued out, where it's not as jumping up and down as it was before?
Yeah, it was definitely one of the most volatile asset classes the world has seen, and has definitely still been considered a high-risk asset or a high-risk investment. So we're seeing people that are regularly investing their portfolios in those kind of safer investments, using just a small portion of their portfolio to diversify into this wild west of crypto. The volatility has kind of come down a little bit, but we're still seeing huge price moves, especially in these new coins that are popping up around that decentralized finance, or giving people that chance to be able to earn more crypto by having existing holdings of that crypto. So
great question.
It's still wildly volatile. I definitely suggest you, knowing the risk going into it. Yeah. You're only going to be putting money that you're prepared to be able to lose. That's something you always remember in investing. And the more you know, the more you're kind of on top of it, and that's always the best case.
Yeah, I'll tell everybody, listen, do your research long,
like she said, know what you're doing, know the amount of money you're putting in. I mean, obviously don't take what your family needs to live and sink all of that in there.
I call it do your digital homework.
Yeah.
Because it is like, you're learning how to deal with dynamite, and that's going to be stored differently than bread. That's going to be used differently than bread, and that's going to be received differently than bread. So you got to make sure you're understanding what it is, but we're absolutely here to educate, not intimidate.
How would Tom and I go about creating our own brand of currency?
Yeah, there's actually a website out there on the Ethereum network where you can create your own ERC20. That's kind of the term for this Play-Doh type of asset, where you can spin something up. We've seen interesting names from the likes of Yams. There was a burger, there was a hot dog coin. People are spinning up all sorts of coins, but the real purpose that you want to be doing your research on is what's that utility, who's behind it, why am I needing to purchase it, or else it might just be a kind of up and down scheme that you're not really prepared to be a part of.
Yeah, our chat room's saying they want us to create our own that they
Our
can
own
invest,
digital
you know,
currency.
they can start using.
Oh,
and
yeah.
just moving it all around.
Yeah,
I like the
I
sound.
mean, I know how much time you spend on your merch site, so maybe you can just turn that into how much time you're spending on your crypto site.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
down, and then we'll just take everyone's money.
Coley.
Don't do that.
No, we would never do that.
Might not get listed on my platform.
Yeah,
we
no,
look,
it never
look
would.
through all the kind of risks out there and make sure we run things through what we call our digital asset risk assessment framework to make sure the coins that are listed on our platform are not securities, as well have strong communities, especially for Americans, and are able to kind of have a long-term plan going forward for us to be able to invest in.
So, Coley, do you find are you seeing more and more companies accepting like crypto and like Bitcoin as a standard like a currency on the internet? I mean, obviously that's growing, right?
It's absolutely growing. I mean, you think about all of us being locked in our homes. Florida's been a bit nice, opened up a little bit more than the rest of the U.S., but a lot of us can't get around to pay people. And even if you're trying to pay a friend in another country, there's a little bit of friction in that process. So being able to access, put dollars into Bitcoin and then send Bitcoin to any address around the world really makes that process pretty easy. And we're seeing definitely more companies leaning into it, as well as some of the major, publicly traded companies putting their balances into Bitcoin. You saw that with MicroStrategy just came out, putting a huge chunk of their treasury in Bitcoin with the expectation that money in the internet is going to be the way forward.
You know how I know that this is the future? Much like I said the same thing about air fryers. When you see this, you see this online.
We're talking air fryers now.
You see Bitcoin all over the place. People know what it is. You go get a package of Ore-Ida tater tots, and on the back it gives you air frying instructions. What a time to be alive, right?
Yeah.
Time to be alive. Absolutely changed my quarantine experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, Coley, are you from Central Florida?
I am. I'm born and raised in Orlando, so right outside Orlando, Winter Park. Shout out to the 32789. It was my hood. I was in the Nutcracker and the Orlando Ballet a couple of Christmases. So I'm a true Floridian when it comes down to it.
That's awesome.
How'd you get into the world of finance? Like, what was that? I mean, because you were in Hong Kong and London and for a while.
You've been to Hong Kong.
She's from Orlando. She knows where everybody here is like Hong Kong.
You
fancy.
You ever had sashimi? I think that's raw fish.
She knows. She's from Florida. Like, we're all like, whoa, you went to London?
That's about right. But I also went to Epcot a lot when I was little.
Yeah.
So that's really what I blame this on.
That's funny.
We'd go to Epcot and I'd travel the world, and my mom would have one currency and she wouldn't have any pain problems. And she'd buy a beer at the UK station. We'd go and get the sashimi over in the Japan station. Have a little dinner in Morocco for the Illuminations festival.
Yeah.
I thought the whole world was based on fireworks and a simple currency system.
I had you pegged as a Spice Road lady. Yeah, I love that place, man.
Oh man, that Morocco exhibit is just like fly me there now.
It's awesome, man. The food there is terrific. That's crazy that you saw that and then you just kind of made your little girl Epcot dream come true and traveled, and now after doing that, now you're kind of more of a like trailblazing a little bit and doing something that people typically don't know what it is. I mean, I kind of feel like you and I do understand that in the world of podcasting. It's weird. Yeah. But it is more commonplace now than it's ever been.
Oh, yeah. And it just seems like this will, I mean, imagine.
Seems like they go kind of hand in hand, right? Like podcast and Bitcoin and or these digital currencies.
Well, we're so global anyway, having one currency that every country takes without having this weird, transferring U.S. dollars to Chinese,
I gotcha.
It just makes sense. And
especially, I mean, you think about going and accessing comedy back in the day, you had to go down to the stinky cellar to go figure out, the next laugh and joke. And now you guys have put it on the internet.
Yeah,
and it's pretty fantastic that's so much more accessible. Everyone can enjoy it. You can turn it on at the middle of the night whenever you're feeling like it. So that's really the same thing that we're doing with money.
Yeah, it's just the availability and the convenience of being able to access it. Yeah, it's exactly like podcasting if you think about it. Yeah, that's great.
Coley, one last question, and again...
when he always says the one last question, I get nervous.
Binance.us, you could find out all the information on there. Yeah. It's easy to sign up.
Yeah, Tom did
Listen, if I did it, I mean, if people could tell you...
Coley, that is the greatest thing he can say for you, is that if I can do it, like, people are flooding the site right now.
It did take me like a couple hours after work to slowly pop up going through the thing.
Well, I noticed you didn't leave here
if I can do it, you could do it, and I think that's one of the greatest things about crypto is it takes a little bit of time to do your digital homework, but that's really what we're hoping to make it as easy as possible to understand.
So the not to get too personal here, but were you one of the the beginning investors into crypto that when Bitcoin blew up, like, a lot of people became millionaires?
Asking if she's rich.
Well, I'm just saying, did you invest early into crypto and did you hit that like crazy gold rush? Yeah.
Sir, I'm still working. What do you think?
That's true.
Yeah, but
unfortunately, I missed the whole thing. I mean, I joined digital assets and kind of jumped into crypto right in 2017. So I joined a company called Ripple, and I thought that was the only way to get into crypto was to work at a company for it and earn it in my salary. And boy, was I wrong. You could access crypto in a million other ways. And so knowing that and spending those 2 years learning the inside out of how a token works and kind of understanding that, I just say it was, time and money I invested in myself, and now I'm able to deliver it to more people so they don't make the same mistakes I did. Yeah. And so we've got the lowest fees in America, because that was one of the hurdles that didn't get me buying early on was, oh man, I got to pay 1% in order to buy Bitcoin. Well, that doesn't make sense. So that's really where I've been able to come in and say, what can I do to make this experience easier so no Americans are left behind in this digital movement.
Gotcha. And you do offer lower fees, because there was only one other exchange in town that you could even buy. Like,
it was my exchange.
No, that was the weird part
I
to me.
have the highest fees in the industry.
I couldn't believe I couldn't just go on and buy it through whatever. I didn't know that it was so regulated, and so
it's legit. Yeah, we know that they're doing that right now with podcast ratings or at least downloads. They're making it more legitimate. And whenever something like that happens, they start dialing it down, man.
But you guys do offer lower fees, right?
Yeah, we have the lowest fees in America, and that's a huge reason, because I hate fees. I worked at a bank. I know how it works. I don't believe that that's what we should be, costing people, because this is going to be the currency of the internet, and the internet is free too. So let's just be able to build it in the most sustainable way, get people involved, really lower those barriers to entry so people can get access into this, change their lives, be able to have alternative lifestyles. For me, it was to be able to continue to afford Disney tickets, because the price of those have certainly skyrocketed since I was 10 years old.
Mm-hmm. I feel the need to read something from the chat room that hopefully will make you happy. Many women and men are weighing in of how attractive you are, including Tracy, who says she's very attractive, strong facial features, great cheekbones.
Oh, gotta thank my father for that.
Yeah, I'm just throwing it out there. People don't get enough compliments these days, Tom.
I appreciate that. It means so much when I spend all my time behind a computer.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Well, Coley, thanks for talking to us.
Yeah, this was super fun. I think we'll dabble a little bit, and maybe we'll have you on it.
Crypto Corner. Yeah, talk about it, learn more about it. Definitely want to hear from your users how they view crypto and how we can make that something that they're excited about.
Maybe we can hook her up with a group so she can give pop in and give some advice.
Well, I am signing up to the affiliate program. I haven't got through the link that Graham sent me, and there's a lot. This has been 2.5 months.
Oh my God!
Oh, he's laughing right now
because you got to hook him up, because the best part about it is you share your link with others to teach them about Binance US, and you get to earn crypto too.
Oh, I know. That's why.
Look at this guy over here. I know what you're doing.
If you get one, you can get two. If you
get two, you get four. It's four.
I got to teach Coley about that. My old 1-to-1, 2-to-2.
There's 2 to 4. You're getting your own. You know what, Coley? Thank you so much for the time.
You guys are the best. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
See ya.
Bye.
Well, she is very nice.
Yeah.
Did I embarrass you by saying she had great cheekbones? I didn't say that. No. Tracy said that.
No, it's,
Yeah,
there's
I
still.
feel like we didn't need to comment on her looks.
Yeah, I
as-
like
as
doing
the
that.
fact that she didn't even want to be on video
Yeah.
at first.
I like doing that.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
Tom's asking how a woman can get in finance.
I
How'd
heard
you
that.
get into finance?
I think that's worse than mine.
I didn't
though.
say how
I
did a
think
woman get
we
in finance.
heard it in the inflection.
I said, Fauci. Listen, we're a Florida terrestrial
Yeah.
radio show.
Come on,
it's gotta
cut us
be
some
a
slack.
yeah. Well,
Okay.
there's a base. I gotta keep Concrete Mike listening. There's a lot of Concrete Mics out there.
Concrete Mike, if you are listening,
Yeah.
stand back, stand by. That's what I say.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I just want to make you laugh. I'm sorry. I just want to make you laugh. Concrete Mike's one of my guys. He's my guy.
Bye-bye. Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We're going to jump to voicemails. We got a little bit of time for this segment. If you would like to leave us a voicemail or even an email, Samantha got her emails out.
Yeah.
I better go with those because I hate neglecting them. show@tomanddan.com is the easiest way to drop us a line. What do you got, Sam?
All right. How Tom gets it done. Tom,
Uh-oh.
can you share how you focused enough to do all the work necessary to complete your UCF business degree, even while living with the symptoms of ADD? I also have ADD and ADHD, and trying to focus on schoolwork while handling the rest of my life, including a family and a full-time job, is excruciating.
Yeah, this is an actual. I forgot. At first, I thought it was a goof email. It's not a goof
So
email.
basically, how did you get through it when you didn't have your
this
medicine?
guy needs help. And do you know?
Well, that's
okay,
harder.
Much like me, we're going to take this one a little, maybe a little seriously. We'll throw jokes in there. But much like me with my anxiety and the fact that we talk about it, the ADHD, because we talk about you not being able to focus and everything, like I get emails from guys that say, hey, thanks for talking about it. It's weird, but I went to the doctor. I got checked out, got, on something, and now my quality of life is better.
Yeah. No, you have to talk about it because it's real.
How did you
Everybody-
get through school? My God.
Well, the thing is, he didn't have a family back
Yes,
then.
He was
Yeah.
also
You
working
know?
at the
Could
radio
not.
station, though, and busting his ass.
True,
Yeah, but
you
that's
have
easy.
leeway with your schedule and whatnot.
Did your wife help you at all with your schoolwork?
My radio
your
station
mom.
job was the easiest job I've ever had. Let me just start by that. During the actual time we're on the air, we're trying to make each other laugh. It's
Yeah, it's fun.
I was,
It's
the
not-
writing. I put a lot of stress on myself, but it wasn't that consuming after. Like you did your production work, and then it wasn't like I was doing other work towards that or whatever. I think my ADHD got worse as I got older. But this guy's got a wife and a family and stuff. That's way
Like
I
if
could
you're
not.
diagnosed, if this man is diagnosed,
Yeah, it's
then
probably-
you should probably get some medication. Look into it.
Yeah.
Oh, he is diagnosed.
Yeah.
I mean, he said he is living with it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you got to go to the doctor.
He says I also have ADD/ADHD. So if you do have it, then
And honestly, here's the thing. I truly believe, like we all talked about this, everybody's on a spectrum of something. So I think on my spectrum of ADD, if that is the case, I think that I'm lower on the spectrum.
Yeah, I
As
agree with that.
And I think everybody has something, and they're on the spectrum of something. Even if you're super low, you got a little bit of it. So if it's like depression, anxiety, whatever, I don't know anybody that has zero. Maybe Logic Man, a couple other people, but that's the rarity. But has no anxiety whatsoever. So everybody has a level of anxiety.
Yeah, Andrea's real low.
Daniel's, yeah.
Andrea's real low, which is probably why our marriage works out. We were talking about that today, because like even getting into the car, we were at the bank, and I was getting in, she was getting in, and the way that we were talking about stuff, I forget exactly what it was, but our answers were, a 180. Complete opposites. But when you put it together, it's complementary. It works a little bit better.
So then with the medication, I take an Adderall, it does help me focus. I take a small amount, but it helps me focus, especially during this time. But if I don't take it, it's not like I'm completely disabled by it. I'm just less focused and a little more all over the place. So
it is a detriment, though, to your life. I mean,
yeah, especially, because then I try to do 20 things at once too.
And
which
nothing
is
gets done.
Which is
Right.
part of the
Yeah.
probably ADD. I can't just sit there and relax, do nothing. It's hard for me to do one focused thing at a time without the Adderall. It's really hard. I get distracted easily. I want to go here, and then
you need to make lists. I get a lot of satisfaction out of making a
list
list
gal.
on this pad.
yeah.
And then I like to go just down and I check things on, and then when I look at the pad and it's all done, I don't know, it's like cutting a yard and seeing the lines in the grass.
Yeah.
It's like it's pleasing to my mind.
The problem is it's a never-ending list for me. Like I go to make a list and then I'll just get lost into making a never-ending list of things to do.
You got to pick like 5.
Then,
you got to put
No,
it
you
in.
can make the list, but don't start working on other things until you've crossed off
that's
other
my
ones.
problem. Yeah, I'll make the list. I'll go like number 1.
You got to prioritize.
And then I'm like, I need to do these things. I'm gonna make more lists of those. And then I'm like, I need to do this first.
Now it's a manifesto.
Yeah. So it's a lot of that. But
We got to go through your desk again. It's bad over there.
Is it bad again?
It's bad. He's got a whole trash pile to the left of his desk. I don't know what's in there.
Mine's a little bad, but it's not really papers. I just leave like boxes and junk, toys and stuff all over my desk. I'm a child.
Mm-hmm.
There's rubber masks, there's toys, there's an ashtray, a Mexican man with his dong out. There's all kinds of weird stuff on my desk.
Remember when the amazing Jonathan told us a little bit of meth?
Yeah,
made
I'm
his
with
life
him.
better?
He was right.
That's
He
basically
also
it.
grew an extra toe because he did stem cell research, right? Or stem cell treatment.
Not an extra. It's just his amputated toes.
Oh, it grew it back?
It didn't grow back, but it.
He got a sprout, toe
a
sprout.
little nubby
Yeah,
or something.
a
But yeah. This if you got a family and you're trying to do school and work, like you also no matter what
That's
could
gonna
be
be
too
hard,
much.
yeah.
It's like some people are like, I can't get it all done. Well, of course you can't. You're trying to do too much.
You're one
Like,
person.
yeah. So. And that's what I think a little bit of my ADD. I was trying to do way too much, and then that's when I kind of really noticed it. Back like when I used to just work at the radio station, have a UCF school.
Lighter load.
The college, God, it was difficult to get through, but. It's not.
It's more the process is difficult, not the work. I never found the work in college to be difficult. Just going there, organizing everything, submitting your paper, all that. That's the part that's hard for me. Is just making sure I'm
now
organized.
most of it you can just do online,
Yeah.
especially now during COVID. Almost all classes are
That's
online.
how I finished. But does that like?
I wouldn't have been able to do it. I don't have the discipline.
Yeah,
to,
like it's
do
like
it
online
now.
learning is. I finished my college degree online.
Yeah, I had to go to the class and listen to be able to,
If I had been younger, it'd have been really hard. But I was 38, or what, 39 when I went back to finish. And it was very, very easy for me because I was good at computers. And it was like on the beginning of when it got sophisticated online learning where it was very well done, the Pegasus system or whatever they used at University of Central Florida.
Online is the worst.
It was great. You had like message boards you'd pop in. Very easy, very convenient to use, so I'm sure it's even better now. That was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, and welcome back to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Our producer Samantha's here, and Butler is. We don't know where he's at. No clue.
No idea. He's
But
quote on errands.
Here's the thing. He is on the clock. I don't know what he's doing.
I don't know how this happened.
I have no idea what he's doing. But
He
he's
runs a lot of errands.
Yeah, he does run a lot of errands. Speaking of a place that you could run down to because they're back open, man. A lot of people have been asking me, oh, yeah, they're still doing shows. Our good friends at the Orlando Improv are open, and they want us to remind you of that. And we're going to get to talk to somebody. Now, normally we would have these people come in and sit on the red couch. We'd, impress them with our studio and give them, copious amounts of drinks and snacks. Can't do that anymore. But on the line with us right now, he's going to be at the Orlando Improv Sunday, October 4th at 4 p.m. You might know him from Dry Bar Comedy, which if you don't know what that is, it's a great place to watch comedy without burning your kids' ears out. It's Jeff Allen. How you doing, man?
Hey, man, that's great. Yeah, I'm doing fine.
So
what an intro.
yeah. Daniel's good at that.
I don't know if I'm good at it or if I just keep talking until eventually I run out of stupid things to say. But I appreciate you being on the show, man, and welcome to Orlando. Have you stopped through the Orlando Improv before?
Oh, I don't know. Well, if I have, it was years ago. I had stopped doing clubs 20 plus years ago because the audience was about the same age as my kids, and I didn't like getting heckled by my kids.
I could see that. I have a 5-year-old.
Got away from them, and then because of Dry Bar, I've been able to get back in them and draw my people out.
Yeah, well,
and the 4:00 show should be an indication of my people. We're going to get them home before the babysitter gets to the medicine cabinet.
No, it's good though. I don't like it's not even it's an age thing, but it's not even that old now. You know, like I said, I'm 44, but I love going to bed at a solid 6:35.
There you go.
I love
there
it.
You go.
You know, I don't get agita. I sleep well. I wake early. You know, it's great.
Jeff, I'm curious because you have a lot of views, viral views, and I'm curious to when you
his dry bar videos are insanely. They've exploded.
When did you decide to get into like video content and the internet?
Oh, not that long ago. I, like a lot of people, I'm a brilliant investor. You know, I thought beta would be the one, not VHS, but. Anyway, I just, I'll be honest with you. When my manager called me and told me I got you in this show, Dry Bar, I didn't know what it was. And when I told my wife, she went nuts. She said, "You're going to do Dry Bar? My God, Jeff, that's in my Facebook feed every day. Every day I wake up, there's people on from Dry Bar." So I hired a social media guy immediately. And I said, "Look, if this explodes, I need something in place that we could take care of." And to put it in perspective, my summers are normally slow anyway, and they released it in March. By the end of March, my calendar was full for the year. I was actually turning work down. And I liken it to the 1970s. If a comic did the Tonight Show and Johnny Carson let him sit on the couch the first time, the phone just started ringing. So
yeah, we talked to a lot of guys that come through here, and we've actually used exactly the same analogy. And it is funny to think that if you can have that one video.
Oh, yeah.
What's
hilarious, too, is, and Jeff, you probably know this, like if you went on Jimmy Kimmel or whoever, any other late night show, it wouldn't even move the needle. We talk to comedians all the time. They're like,
not at all.
They're like, it doesn't even move. Like, I don't even know any of my friends who watch it. It's like, and but now these things. Viral videos. I mean, we talked to Bert Kreischer. Like, he really didn't become a real multimillionaire until his stuff started turning viral, and his first special started. His clips started getting viral, and
right.
That's the new Carson. Is if you can blow up on the internet. Now you can book gigs. You made it.
And Dry
Everybody
Bar,
knows you.
I don't know how it infiltrated like everybody's feed, but I get it every morning too. And the first ones that I got, and it went in order. The first one I got was the tattooed guy with the tattoos on his neck.
Or Sean or
and then next was you. And so I knew exactly who you were when Samantha said you were coming in. I think that's the guy from Dry Bar. It's amazing though that has exploded as big as it is because you normally at least for me, I don't work clean. We don't write anything clean here. I drink heavily. I'm a horrible human being, and you still pop up in my feed, which is good because that just means that hey, if it's funny, it's funny. It appeals to everybody.
Maybe somebody's trying to redeem you, my man.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe I'll make it up there one day. I'll try really hard.
So, Jeff, I need some advice from you because I know that you got a lot of comedy about. And you got to kind of
navigated the space, man.
You got a mantra, and tell me if this is true. The old happy wife, happy life.
You could almost not say it. Well, he couldn't say it. Could you see it? He was like
struggling.
Like say I love you.
And I've heard that, and of course it makes logical sense, and it seems so easy. It's like make your wife happy, and then you will everything will be better, right? But I gotta ask you, Jeff. The problem is with me is that it seems.
Yeah, the problem is with you. That's right.
right
there.
There it is.
Just
You're
stop.
done.
Freeze.
It seems like my general personality and then the way I do things is what makes my wife unhappy. So I don't know how. I don't know how to make her happy
not what
because
you do. It's you.
So is that a problem? Can I fix that?
I've been saying people ask all the time. I just go comply, get along, don't rock the boat. I'm coming out with my own men's cologne. I'm calling it Acquiescence. It's made with the oil of a jellyfish. So.
Now I do agree with you, Jeff, when you say just comply, go along with it. I do that, but then that starts making her mad because she asked me what do you want for dinner? I'm like, I don't care, and then that drives her crazy.
That's it. Those are the biggest fights we've had. I wake up at 6:30 in the morning. The first question she asks, "What do you want for dinner tonight?" I go, "Christ, woman, I just woke up," and we would start an argument. So I would lay in bed before I got out of bed, and I would think about what I want for dinner. So when she'd ask, I'd have an answer. So I'd say spaghetti. She goes, I don't want that. And I go, well, I'm out of answers, babe. That's it.
Well, that's what happens to
And
me.
again, I don't care. I don't care. My God, I ate McDonald's my whole life. Obviously, I don't care.
I know. That's
but instead of I don't care,
That's not one of your sponsors, is it, by the way?
No,
Oh,
we're too
my
small
God.
for that, Jeff.
Did you hear me? I said I'm a horrible person. That's Subway's deal, not McDonald's deal.
So, but you bring up a good point too, because whatever I suggest that I want for dinner, my wife's like doesn't want.
But
So
you
I
missed
don't know
his
what.
point. You missed his point. The point is you're just supposed to suggest. See, he did what she asked. He complied.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. I and that. What about the other things? Because I imagine you've run into this too. Have you been married for a long time?
Yeah, 34 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think you need to update your bio because I think your bio says 30 years. So 4 more. I mean, damn.
Oh my gosh! If I had to update, I just updated the pictures. My friends were looking at my pictures and going, "I didn't know they let you use your high school yearbook photo."
Exactly.
I said, "Well, I told my manager, I guess it's time to update the photo." I had hair. You know, it's funny when I read the Facebook feed because we put on a lot of old videos from 20 years ago, and people are going, "No, man, he's old now. He's got no hair. He's." You know, and somebody actually said, "Is he Tim Allen's brother?" And someone goes, "No, I think he's his father."
Oh,
Are you kidding me?
my God.
I looked it up. Tim's actually 3 years older than me. He's got better doctors.
The internet is brutal, man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, people are just mean.
It made that home improvement money.
Yeah.
It's like, Hey, you get rich.
I don't
Living
care.
off that syndication.
Well, yeah, I don't care how much cocaine you've done. Enough money, you make you look young.
yeah, fix
That's
your
it.
nose.
Yeah.
So 34 years, and I've been.
That's amazing. Congratulations, man. I mean, I guess that's
Thank
what you say.
Yeah, and
It helps when you're on the road half the year.
I was gonna say that.
So technically, that's only 17 years.
That's true.
So I was gonna ask you that because I do feel like every relationship needs some sort of space. Like you.
Right.
Like I just got back from vacation with my wife, and it's like, you know,
And boy, are my arms tired.
7 full days of just us and the kids being together. No, you know,
It's exhausting.
You get on each other's nerves, and
Right.
so have you found that because you're a stand-up, you know, you travel on the weekends actually helps? Because we talked to some stand-ups that are like, it's actually good. The space is good, and sometimes it could ruin a relationship because, you know, being on the road all the time.
Well, we've said it more than once to my wife and I when we've talked about it. Not every couple could live the life we've lived. Some couples need that constant. I went insane. I was home for 5 months because of COVID. After 30 days, she looked at me. She said, this is the first time in our entire marriage you've been home 30 consecutive days. And 3 days later, she goes, by the way, are you going to ever get back on the road? I mean, it was it was hard. The first couple of months was hard because I disrupt things. You know, she has her way of doing things. And then by the time I get settled in, I start doing things differently. And there's this friction that goes on. And then the fact that she doesn't have a job, and I don't. We're just home all day, you know, and she gets tired of looking at me in the chair. So, you know, I started doing yard work. I got 2 acres. I used to pay someone to do the yard work, and she says, why should we pay anybody? You're here. And I go, because I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
How's that for a good reason?
Yeah.
You know. And so anyway, I became actually, if the comedy thing doesn't work out, I could probably get into landscaping now.
It's a hard work, honest work.
It is hard work. It is.
Well, Jeff, where do you live?
Nashville.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you said 2.5 acres, I was like, well, that takes out anywhere in California. like you know, most stand-ups, you know, they migrate to California to get more work or whatever. Do you think? Yeah. Do you think more stand-up comedians are going to live outside of the stereotypical LA now, just because, like, you know, with the exposure you can get on the internet now?
Yeah, you don't need to. I got a development deal and a pilot back in 2001 living in Nashville. You know, and it's you just fly in, you do your auditions, and you fly out. And as long as you have representation that has a presence in Los Angeles or New York, you don't need to live there.
Do you think that comedians are even gonna do the stereotypical media tours? Like, as I'm sure your social media following has grown significantly since you started going viral in the video, and then I've seen some stand-up comedians, they don't, they literally market themselves through their own social media and don't have to do really anything else.
Yeah.
Do you think we're headed that way, where it's just like everybody's got their group of loyal followers and then that's it? You'll try to get some more here and there, but you don't have to do the old song and dance like you used to.
You won't be on the morning shows. Right?
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because some of it's the clubs, depending on the markets they're in. But I've taught, last summer maybe it was, I went into a club and I did a tour of radio in the morning and a couple in the afternoon, probably 5 stations all day, and they said, that's it, we're not doing it anymore, because everything was coming through Facebook and through Twitter, and it's an interesting thing because hell, I'm 64, I've been in this for 42 years. Woo. So it was why I was such a late comer to the social media, was because my head was always about the traditional media, print. Get yourself an article. I remember I got an article in the Houston Chronicle, and a friend of mine goes, does anybody even read a newspaper anymore?
Yeah, I mean,
outside of me putting it on my Facebook, they probably got more views through my Facebook feed than they did through their own. You know?
Yeah.
It is interesting, and I believe that you don't need. I just worked with a girl at a corporate event. She was the headliner. She had no act, but she had a huge YouTube following. She would distort her face and make these funny videos, and millions of people follow her. So she's going around the country getting paid big money, and I just came home and told my wife, I go, it used to be you had to actually have an act.
Right.
Well, hold on. What does she do?
Well, she sounds like she's like maybe special needs, and
exactly.
And gets on the stage and just derps it up. And
hold on. So what are the, we talk about corporate gigs all the time, and
what'd she do when she got on stage?
Yeah,
she contorted her face.
And that's it. No words?
What is it?
I only watched about 5 minutes because I wanted to get home. But it was again. I don't like to disparage other people. It was just like
I understand what you're saying.
I just came home and told my wife, I go,
it's a different kind of media.
You don't need to spend 10 years on the road putting a craft together to have your hit. I mean, you're 15 minutes. I don't know where the longevity will be.
Exactly. Because essentially at the end of the day, what you're talking about is completely two different things. They might be
insanely popular
or coexisting in the same comedy club, but you going there to do an act that's polished and what it brings to people and leaves them with, and what the other person, it could be anybody, an influencer does, and what it leaves the audience with is two completely different animals.
Right.
Yeah. Also, you've been literally working on stand-up for 30 years. This person's
40 years. 42 years.
42 years. Sorry.
That's insane.
And this person's not even that old. You've been working on your craft longer than this person's existed.
Yeah.
Well, that was it. I was told when I started it takes 10 years to put to call yourself a stand-up. I mean, and again, there were guys that developed quicker, but I was 18 years into clubs and I couldn't draw anybody. I couldn't get. I auditioned for the Letterman show. I did all of did all the stuff you're supposed to do. I lived in New York. I lived in L.A. And it really wasn't until I got out of the clubs and I started working churches. I came after 9/11. I was in Vegas on 9/11. And my wife was freaking out, as a lot of the country was, I couldn't get home. The club made me work that night. I was there for 7 days.
Oh my God, they made you work?
Yeah, that was the club owner comes. He goes, you got a complaint, man. Complain to the 300 people who bought tickets. And I said, only in Vegas, Wow. So anyway, I came home and told my Jewish manager, I said, you think churches would hire me? I work clean. And he said, you're asking me? I don't know.
Yeah.
So we put it out. The first year we were willing to work at church. I got one church. When your resume is 20 years of casinos and nightclubs and, dens of iniquity, pastors were a little hesitant to give me the stage for a while. But eventually we broke through. And so I spent probably 15 years doing corporate and churches. And church audiences are very good for a storyteller, and that's what I am. They have attention spans. They're used to people using metaphors and painting pictures with words and things. So it was a good fit.
It's really it's very similar to a sermon. Yeah, they're
attentive.
They're attentive. They want to be there. I mean, a lot of them, like in my mother's case, they're paying to be there because they're tithing. It's like you got people with skin in the game, and they're happy to be there. It's really a pretty brilliant. It's a pretty brilliant comedy plan, if you ask me. I mean, I grew up in the church. My mom was a church organist, so we would have occasionally some. And I mean this with love, but a strange act come through that just happened to be Christian or just happened to be clean, and they'd come in and it'd be like, "What are they?" And they're like, "Oh, it's a Christian metal band." And man, you would be, or a comedian, you'd be so stoked to see somebody that just wasn't like that same boring worship service.
Right. Yeah. We kind of changed the whole model. Comedians prior to when I started, basically did what they called humor. They were humorous. They talk about misprints in the church bulletins and things, puns they do. And then I came in and did a nightclub act without any blue language, And I remember one particular event I did. After the first night, they came to me the next day and they said, you had a great set last night. It was really funny. But, and they're waiting for the but.
Oh, God.
Could you mention you love your wife at some point during the show? And I go, they don't know that? He goes, well, you hit her kind of hard. And I thought I was being soft, Anyway, so the next day I go up for this breakout thing in the morning and I do 15 minutes and I'm leaving the stage. And I go, oh, I forgot. I walk back to the mic and I start telling people how much I love my wife. And I start crying. I start crying. I mean, I'm not kidding you. It was so, I was shocked. I walk off. My wife looks at me and goes, what the hell was that? So every time I go to do a church, she goes, you talk about me? And I go, I did. She goes, you go Jimmy Swaggered on him? Did you drop some tears, man? She was brutal.
I like her roasting you.
She's roasting you. She was
I know.
Swagger.
She was brutal.
Jimmy Swagger.
That's all. It's surprisingly like to me that no other comedian has thought about breaking in.
It's brilliant.
I'm sure they have. You probably talked to some other guys that do what you do, or are you like one of?
He's a Christian comedy unicorn.
There's a bunch of them now. I mean, there's an actual organization I think called the Christian Comedians Association, and they get together once or twice a year. And I have writers' nights at my house. A lot of them are believers, some aren't. I take young comics once a month to my house, and we try to mentor them and.
That's great.
Help them out.
But that's also sounds like a very tough job because we know a lot of comedians and a lot of them are hurting. They're troubled. So the fact that you're taking them in and doing that is super awesome, but also could be quite difficult because some of them are pretty damaged cats, and that can be rough.
Yeah, believe me, I'm a recovering addict. I just had 33 years.
Hey, congrats, man! That's awesome.
Wow,
33
that
years.
is. I mean, man.
Coincidentally coinciding with how many years I've been married.
Yeah, you're really good at doing things for a very long time well and holding it together.
Well, yeah. Well,
do you got any kids, Jeff?
I have 2 boys, 4 grandchildren.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
We're fairly new dads. We've got the 5 and 6 year olds, and I got a 5-year-old daughter.
Oh my gosh!
Any advice before we run?
They grow fast, man.
Oh man, they do. They also end up. I mean, like I get bullied because I'm the man, and the whole house is like women, and it's just I get ignored mostly. Just
me and my boys, we gang up on
that's how it works.
with my wife, and
she loves that.
Oh, there's pee-pee everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, well, Jeff, it's good talking to you, man. Can you plug your social media and everything? And again, he's going to be at the Orlando Improv on Sunday at 4 p.m. October 4th. So you can get your tickets at the improvorlando.com.
Yeah, and based on a 4 p.m., I mean, you could take your grandma out there. I mean, it is COVID still. Yeah, put a mask on her. She'll be fine.
Well, yeah, it's funny. I've had more success at 4 and 5 on the weekends. Most of the clubs like it because then they put in another show after me. And it's like, I did the show at Zany's in Nashville, and Brian, the owner, just loves doing this. All my audience comes in. It's a clean show. It's all these older people, everything. and the act coming in after me is something like the Three Whores in New York or something. I don't know. It's always something like that. I mean, it's just the audiences are, there's no crossover.
Yeah,
Nobody's looking for my group going, hey, let's stick around and watch the second show.
That's awesome. Well, hey, man, enjoy your time in Orlando. Thank you so much for Skyping in and getting hold of us. Yes, Tom.
Yeah, your social media again?
Oh, JeffAllenComedy.com is the website, and then all of the Jeff Allen Comedy, J. Allen Comedies on Instagram. And then Jeff Allen, I'm blue checked on Facebook, so they just Google Jeff Allen, and that should come up, and they can sign on. And we try to post at least 2-3 videos a week and funny stuff. I do no politics. I never mention politics.
Nice.
Outside of the fact that I watched the debates the other night, and Tammy, about 10 minutes into it, looked over at me and said, "This kind of reminds me of our first marriage counseling session."
Yeah.
These people don't like each other very much.
No, there's a lot of anger there.
Yeah, it's smart staying away. We too don't talk about politics. And
it's senseless, man. You alienate half your people, and for what? You know?
Yeah, and you're not going to change their minds.
You're making everybody mad. Yeah, not at all. Yeah. That's the best thing. I 100% agree with you.
Yeah. Well, brother, it was a pleasure meeting you. And when we get through this, and if we do, or I'm sure we will, and you're back in Orlando, come see us, okay?
I will, man. Thank you guys so much.
All right, take care, man. That is Jeff Allen from the Orlando Improv. Going to be there on October 4th at 4 p.m.
It's a testament to you could find your audience and just grind it, and it'll be there. You know what I'm saying? Like
I've always wanted to grind my audience. Just
it is brilliant to get in front of that church audience if you have a clean act and you're I know he's a born again Christian and stuff, and
there's a whole church comedy circuit.
Yeah. Imagine, because you have this huge audience, and then church got money, they'll pay to bring you in and entertain them, and the audience, they're attentive, they're positive, they're not drunk. That's
you ever been to Chick-fil-A and forgot your Polynesian sauce? You know, Chick-fil-A, I don't call it Chick-fil-A. You know what I call it? Chicken church. Closed on Sunday.
Bye-bye.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
I'm Tom.
Samantha, our producer, is here. Butler is here as well. And what were you talking about there, buddy?
So I saw a post on the BDM page from a guy that was asking other BDMs. By the way, you can if you want to be on the BDM page, first you have to be a BDM, and to do that, just go to tomanddan.com, sign up. It's a little box. Actually, there's nothing that says BDM on our front page because we didn't even call it that when we started it.
But
it's
like a
subscriber
plus.
Yeah, and but you can sign up
plus and then subscriber,
and it's right there on the front page. But
just click subscribe.
Yeah, and once you're a BDM, then on our app, you can request to be in the BDM page. You can go to the BDM page, send a request. Tony will verify you, and then you can get in there. Anyway, so he was asking other BDMs if they thought he should go back to school, and he's like, I think he's around my age, a little younger.
36.
Yeah, he's a couple years younger than me, and he's got a family, and he's like, should I go get my degree and follow my dreams, right? And I
hate it when people say follow my dreams.
Yeah. I started to write back this long answer. Then I was like, I'm just going to talk about it.
The first thing I wrote was fake.
And
like I do on everybody's post now.
So I think that there's certain things that if you want to do, you have to obviously go through the proper channels and get your education. For instance, if you want to be a lawyer or
a doctor, surgeon.
Sure. Or there's certain things that if you want to be a real estate agent, or so there's certain education. You want to work in the medical field as a sonogram technician. Like there's certain like legal and procedural.
What if I want to be a courtroom reporter?
I think you have to go to school for that because you have to type.
What is it, Stenotype School
Institute? Yeah. There's certain things that, like technical things you have to learn, and like But
what about woodworking?
Woodworking, you learn on the. You don't pay for that.
Chimney sweep.
Yeah, don't pay for that. Learn on the job.
You could though. You could pay. There's a whole woodworking like college in Tampa.
True.
How about butcher? Butcher.
No, you can learn on the job.
So I think there's a category of jobs and let's say businesses that people, if they want to get into, that school is 100% the probably the best way to get into that field. But then there's this a bunch of other jobs. and even his job that he wanted to do, I think falls in this category. Is it's better off to not go a 4-year degree or like pay for education. But by the way, most of that is going to be theory and stuff. It's like when I went to business school, a lot of business theory. Like I didn't learn anything that ever corresponded with this business.
Not at all
It's not
applicable.
specific.
No,
really.
nothing. Not one thing. I learned on the job at how as I went.
Yeah.
And so I think there's tons.
Well, where'd you come out with a 1 to 2, 2 to 4,
No, that's
4 to 8?
I
That's
came
a
up
Tom
with
Mann original.
I thought,
yeah,
I thought you just got that from old, UCF.
Cornerstone.
Yeah.
No, hell no. That
Keystone
That's Tom
Cornerstone.
Van Business 101.
they
Wow.
should teach that. If you're listening, UCF, the one
one,
to
two,
two,
the-
2 to 4.
Don't give them the curriculum.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
don't tell them.
I
Don't
won't tell
tell
you
them
what's
for
after
free.
that. You gotta pay for that.
Yeah, you got to pay for the rest.
Want to know what comes after 4? You pay for that. So anyway, I'm a true believer. If you want to get into an industry, no, it has to be a specific industry that doesn't require obviously like medical training or law training.
Male go-go dancer.
That
No, freelance.
Yeah, you can. I think if you go like okay,
Stonewall Bar Merman.
that's something that
You got to learn on the job, that apprenticeship.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying
I
to
wonder if
think.
the Merman at Stonewall Bar, well, are they? Yeah,
I
they're
don't
out.
know.
I don't know if they're open, but I wonder if he'd take me on as his apprentice.
I'm sure he would.
There's a bizarre psychology of this, and I'll explain. So people are more apt to go and pay for an education, right? That could. I mean, there's no guarantee that you're even going to get a job after you get a
Right.
a degree.
I
you
got
know?
my job with 0 college education,
Oh, yeah.
so I'm walking proof
Of course, yeah.
that you don't like. I was the intern apprenticeship method, and that's exactly how
Yeah.
I got a career in radio that's almost been 30 years.
Now, obviously, you work for a big corporation. Your degree is going to be, on the table whether you get the promotion or not. So if another person has a degree and you don't, like obviously, you may not get the promotion. Blah blah blah. We all know that. But just breaking into an industry, people will go to school and pay for school, but they won't go to somewhere and work for free. And it's cheaper than paying for school, but they're
But
working
it used
for
to be they would, right? Because I did.
it's an older school mentality.
Are internships now not as popular as maybe they were in the late 90s?
I think it depends on what type of internship it is.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
because
and especially now because really nobody's allowed in or out of.
Right.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that drying up. So
Well-
your opportunities to even
Because you're
be,
not a necessity.
well, I mean, how are you going to apprentice or how are you going to learn? Like, if I wanted to learn,
but big
podcasts-
corporations effed out internships. They
Yeah.
ruined it because they started just taking advantage of free labor. So a lot of
Well,
internships
they crapped all over it and
Yeah.
ruined it. Yeah.
are complete nonsense. You'll be making copies and doing like
Well, mine was.
there's an army of free labor.
I mean, I'll be honest
Yeah.
with you. Mine was literally like what I learned was only because of people like Ed Till, Greg Holt,
Yeah.
other people that were broadcasters at the time that were old school and said, well, we're going to apply the old school. We teach you how to do things method.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I know how to do stuff.
So
Right.
like I'm trying
And
to
then we all did that same method to each other because we all worked with each other before we even got here, right?
Yeah.
So, this one gentleman, he wants to be in, I'll just, whatever, I'm not saying his name, but he wants to be in business entertainment, right? And we were trying to figure out, like, what exactly that meant, but
It's very broad.
it is broad.
But so is business, right?
Of
so
course, yeah.
really, it's just like a generic business degree
wait a minute,
in the field of entertainment.
Well, he sort of wants to fast track to what you kind of do. Is that
well,
right or no?
It would be,
I mean,
there's-
technically, yes.
There's business entertainment. When I think business entertainment, that's basically your
That is
job.
what Tom does, yes.
Yeah, that's your job.
But I don't think he wants to actually be on the entertainment side.
No.
He wants to be on the business side
Right.
in the entertainment business.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's basically what you do besides talking on the mic.
It's manager. It's
So wait, he wants butlers done.
Publicist,
Yeah, like
it
the-
could be whatever.
So
So he wants to do a butler does.
yeah,
Not
well, that's
necessarily sales.
Yeah. That's it.
Huh.
But
I mean, it could involve some sales.
so let's look at it like, okay, if you were not going to go to the school route, all right, you're like, how do I even get around this, right? So you find, like, say there's a producer somewhere, right? And like a music producer, and the music producer has a studio and stuff, and then
Technically, you don't even have to go to school to be a music producer.
No, no, no,
you
no.
know?
You really
So-
don't. You
But
really don't.
I think
Probably helps if you don't.
Yeah.
if you just start contacting these people, because you'd be surprised. People, I think, and if you said like, hey, I only have 2 hours a day, but I will come clean your entire studio.
Or do whatever you need me to do.
Yeah,
basically.
or I'll
yeah.
be your
Well,
bitch,
don't say
your
whatever
boy.
I need to do.
Well,
you know.
But I'm saying
I've
like
seen those
above
pornos.
board.
Yeah.
I'll do all these. Like, what do you need? You need it tidied up. You need this. You whatever.
Take
like, I'll do it
notes. Yeah.
free. All you have to do is like the last half an hour of the day, just teach me a little bit every day. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
something like that. There would probably be a lot of people that would do that. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'll do that.
Too hard.
well, that's where it
I
comes
want to
to-
get out of here. The last thing I want
But
to do
it's
at the
free.
end of the day is teach them snot
Or you could just be like, hey, I'll job shadow you and I'll watch you throughout the day and see what you do.
Well, that can be annoying.
Okay.
You want
Is that why you yell at Butler?
You're breathing on my neck.
You want to be able to offer that person or that business something of value. So cleaning or whatever, like do something. Be the do boy. You run errands for him or whatever. So he doesn't. But then if you're getting some education or just being around, because then you're getting your foot in the door. And I think if you started in 2 tracks, and if you went into like UCF and or whatever else college, Everest, and then got some degree. And then did that, I really truly believe the person that went the work on site and started meeting people, immediately networking and stuff is going to get way further than if you go the school route. Now, especially at that person's age, if you're 20, maybe you want that degree to help you 20, 30 years from now. But if you're in mid-30s, go that. Don't go the school route. I think school's for young.
Well, it really, it depends.
Because you're wasting
on,
your time that you could be investing into networking, to knowing the business, all the stuff you need to know.
Well, degrees only really matter if you're like, if you want to like almost quick, put a quick value on the person's knowledge. So
Yeah.
if you go to your doctor
Applications.
and you look up and you see that your doctor went to Everest, I mean, if you're sitting there and you look and your doctor went to, some Harvard School of Medicine, or, and then you know what I mean? Like, that's
True,
where
true.
I feel like it comes into play. But for like a music producer, or exactly what we do,
Yeah.
the irony of what we're talking about is that you and I both have college degrees. So
Yeah, but didn't do anything for
didn't
it.
do anything for
Complete
it.
waste of
I
money.
mean, complete waste of money. Both of them.
Yeah. Now, if I worked for a corporation or something, I imagine when I come up for a raise one day, then my business degree may somehow factor into that because it's just at least something. But if the
I think it
person
wouldn't matter now if you needed a job, right? If you needed a quick sales job.
But honestly, if you are a logical person, and you're gonna base it off of the person, like whether or not they have a degree, why would that factor into anything? You know
Well,
what I'm saying?
I mean, like I said,
I know one person's good, and now if all else is equal, 100%,
Right.
maybe that
Well,
would
but
be.
it
But it's
depends
like,
on if you want to
it's
put
a
that.
lot of time and money to waste for that.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
don't think you want to put that time in there. So, like, I can already hear my wife saying this. So, if my wife were in charge of like HR and hiring a business person, and she would take the resumes, that's like a nice way of weeding out the junk, right?
Yeah, it is,
Because
yeah.
if you get a good resume and you look at it and it's impressive, you can line up the one. Then you can kind of have the interview and kind of feel out if it's BS or not, right?
Right.
And
so I think that's what it's for.
Yeah.
But like the way that you're saying, like, how would you know that person's good or not with the resume? It's like, well, I don't have the time to sit down with every person and grill them about their experiences.
Yeah.
Right, but to what Tom is saying too, like this happened with my husband. Like he's been working for the same company for a long time, and he
Yeah.
went back to school for his business degree so that he could get a better position within that same company. Even though he had worked there for years, they
Yeah.
knew he was good at his job. They knew he was capable of doing it. He was up for promotion. Somebody else got it because they had the degree. Then he finished his degree in like a year, and now he's got a promotion and he's getting paid more. So it's like, for whatever reason, for certain companies, it still does mean something.
And
And he's in like the tech area, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
In the corporate world, totally makes sense. I'm just, if you want to get into a new industry,
Well, let's say like a creative industry, maybe.
yeah, creative
That's-
industry,
yeah.
and
Creative,
Like
entertainment, stuff like that, not necessarily need a degree for.
and you're
Art.
middle aged. Like I consider 35 middle aged because
Ooh.
Dare you?
Jesus, man.
Whoa.
I'm almost 35.
Well, that's middle of 70, and then 70 is
I'm
End of the
elderly.
road.
I'm
End of the
elderly.
road.
Yeah, I mean it's close. I mean it's not.
It's
the,
closer than it's not close.
Yeah, it's not the end of the train tracks, but in fact,
It's definitely the food car.
you can
Oh.
see the end, and maybe the end is closer. You don't know. It's at that point. It's like
know.
every other plank is a blessing.
Maybe a bandit will dislodge the caboose.
I'm just a big proponent of like getting in somewhere and showing your value and your interest and then
It
knowing
works.
people.
It works for some companies, but not all.
I wonder if
Sure.
it would be harder now. Like I'm still going back to this whole thing about internships and how they've been destroyed. So even like apprenticeships, if I wanted to, let's say I
And
wanted to
trade jobs.
if there was like a guy, let's say the world's best handmade canoeman, here's a guy that like hand carves canoes.
Yeah.
And I want to learn how to do that because it's like an old world trade, right? How would I even go about seeing if I could work with a guy by now because of the way the world is and with the
Well, if
virus
he's
and
independent,
everything?
you could probably just,
Yeah.
get in contact with him personally.
No, I'm just saying
Yeah.
with the virus and everything, I don't know if that would even be a
Oh,
possibility.
Those real men carpenters, they don't give a damn about
No.
COVID. They're just like, they're like, all right, you want to help me for free? I gotta work.
All right.
Like that's
Keep your mouth shut.
And
Yeah.
like you can watch me, and then I'll teach you a little bit in each job, and then I'll pay you to clean the job up. I mean, that's how most trade jobs.
Yeah.
There's usually a guy learning on the job. Electricians are a lot like this. There's you go through an apprenticeship and stuff like that, and but
then you're like a journeyman, then you get to like master.
yeah. And you learn on the job, and I like learning on the job way better than traditional education because it just I mean, God, could you?
That's how we both
Did
do
you
it
learn
now.
anything even when you had?
No, the answer is no. You don't even need to say what you're gonna say.
You need communication.
Everything that I know how to do in here was either taught to me by somebody like Greg Holt, old school producer. By that guy, he still produces like Scuba Radio. He's I
know that name.
He's a wonderful man.
Yeah.
And that guy, shout out to that guy. If this gets back to him, please, we should interview him for Weird Job because he does Scuba Radio. That's all he does.
Yeah, we
go
should.
around the world just scuba diving and doing a radio show. It's a dream job that Tom and I eventually will steal the idea and do when we're old. But I learned everything from either him or self-taught.
Yeah.
I mean, you see me in here. If there's something I don't know how to do, I just go, how to blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then I'll either tell
That's
you
another
I
thing
can
now.
do that, or I'll go like, this is over my head. I'm going to need to call somebody who knows how to do it.
Man, I'm starting to doubt, and of course, and I think this probably is proven in studies and stuff, just the value of a 4-year college degree. It's just becoming
Well, they'll have to pivot the way that they operate it.
what they charge for it is not worth it.
Hell no.
At this point, I feel like it's been overvalued.
Don't you think
so
that'll
long.
shift?
Yes,
it'll change.
and because I have to believe
Probably
that
already is.
Especially also with the internet, and a lot of people can make their own business out of whatever they do, whether they do a podcast, whether they do makeup tutorials on YouTube,
Yeah.
whether they're an influencer.
Whether they make soap. We talked to those
Etsy,
guys.
exactly.
Yeah.
You can make your own stuff now, and you don't need degrees to do any of that.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is great.
Yeah, and but it all comes down to like, are you going to put the work in? Like that's the thing. If to me, and I've seen examples of this where I've seen people, friends of mine, that have coworkers that have some sort of 4-year, 6-year, or like a master's degree, and they're astonished. They're like, "What? This person's an idiot." Like a just complete idiot that has this degree that means nothing to anything around here. And
There's
like,
also something to be said about it might mean something to them. It might have been just a personal goal for them.
That was
Yeah,
mine.
You know?
I mean, the only
Yeah.
reason. And
like your wife, right?
Well, and you guys know, well, my wife just likes going to school. She's just an actual authentic nerd. Not a cool nerd, not a video game nerd. I'm not talking about the ones that are cool now. I'm not talking about GameCon and, hey, look at me, I'm an anime character.
You
No,
think she'll
she-
go to school
yeah.
for the rest of her life?
Oh, my God. You're
That's what she wants to do.
describing
Okay.
her dream. Her dream is I get rich, leave her alone, and
Oh.
let her go to school, and it's just me and Maisie, rich, and I guess traveling and having fun, while she just goes to school, gathers knowledge, and then gets good grades. She loves she would rather go to school than have sex with me.
Oh, wow.
You know that's true.
Yeah. It's so
Maybe not the
different.
sex part. I'm pretty good.
I hated school so much.
Who loves school that much?
Yeah. I couldn't
Andrea does.
stand it.
My God.
We can call her. I mean,
No, I believe it.
She
I mean,
gets like smiles on her face talking about it. She,
it's like drugs to her.
she pulled hers back. I hope I can talk
She's
about
addicted
this.
to school.
What does
She
she
pulled
like
her-
about it? Learning?
Yeah, she loves learning.
Just learning?
I know it sounds crazy.
Was she like learning?
Do you have her number? Here, I'll send it to you. Give her a buzz,
might.
and we could talk to her for a second.
But
I
now
think I do actually.
you could learn anything you want at any time, which is different than maybe
No,
she
she's
likes
old-
the
she's old-
structure.
yeah, she does.
And like
she likes
someone
the process.
like quizzing her and grading her.
She likes
and
all
so-
of that.
Yeah. See, that's different than learning because
She likes being held accountable for her grades and managing it.
now, honestly, if you wanted to learn how to do literally anything, you could just go online and learn how to do it. You could learn how to be an electrician. You could learn how to do anything, right? Do a podcast.
I mean, but
there's video tutorials. There are people, professionals.
it's just the
everything.
checks and balances you can't gain. Like if you need a license or if you need to be, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
we
Like
did-
if
well,
it
yeah.
needs to be inside the.
If you obviously you need your
She might be on a
license
call.
or some sort of exam to get a certificate, or obviously you can't do that, but it's all available now. Like there's no excuse to not learn about anything you wanted to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's different than getting some sort of grade from an institution.
Yeah, but to you and I, that doesn't matter.
Yeah. But to her,
To her,
it's
it really
valuable.
matters.
No S. She said, "Sure. Let me just pause my webinar real quick."
Don't do it. Don't let her do
She's
that.
doing it right now. She's webinaring. Oh,
Hey, babe.
leave her alone. She's trying to learn.
Hey, I'm trying. Sorry to make you pause your webinar and your learning. We were just talking about you learning, and Tom doesn't believe that So Samantha asked the question. I'll keep her out of it because Samantha's a good person.
Well, I just asked, do you think Andrea would love to go to school for the rest of her life?
And my answer was there's nothing she would rather do more than go to school for the rest of her life.
Yeah, if I didn't have to do anything else, like if I didn't have a job or like other responsibilities, sure, I would just
And
take
then
classes
Tom,
and learn and
See, I
like
told
She
you-
has
randomness.
addiction to learning.
and Tom says, "Why does she like it? Learning?" And I go, "Yeah, that's exactly why." Is that exactly why?
Yeah, like why wouldn't you want to like learn how to do different things and stuff like
But
and I'm not just talking about like college classes. Like I could take a class to learn how to fly a plane. I could take a class to become an aerobics instructor or something. Like there's so many things to learn. Like why wouldn't you want to like be able to do that kind
Because
of
it's
stuff?
a waste of time when I could just do it on my own.
Well, no, but also I like learning about. For instance,
He knows a lot about plants.
I'm learning about plants and gambling right now, and I enjoy learning about either one of those because
I
it's,
think
Scoffed
you've
at
been
you.
learning about gambling for like 10, 15 years.
yeah,
He
but
needs to go to gambling school.
It's super hard.
No.
I mean, you start.
I've never
getting,
heard an addict. I mean, apparently I've been learning about marijuana for the last 5 years a lot.
No, you're not learning how to
Yeah.
become better
Yeah.
at.
Hey, this weekend,
being a-
Andrea,
But
I'm
have
gonna,
you?
this weekend,
It's hard.
I'm gonna study some White Claw 70s this weekend, Andrea.
Okay.
So that's where because I understand I enjoy getting better and learning about things that I'm interested in. But when it comes to school, they just give me a bunch of things that some of them I'm not interested at all in,
Right.
and I'm forced to learn it. And
Okay.
I'm like, what do I need to learn this for?
All right.
But so you're done with your bachelor's degree. Like you can make. I mean, you could just if I could just take classes, I would just take random classes, learn about like the world. Like not necessarily have to take any classes to go for a degree or
Isn't she
anything. That's what I'm
disgusting
saying.
to you?
Well, the world. But,
Yeah,
Time
that's
and
what
money.
I said. I mean, every word out of your mouth just sounds so horrible.
But couldn't you learn at like just go online? Because I was talking about like now everything's online. You could learn anything you want. So is the process of the school and the grading and the quizzes part of the enjoyment you get out of it, or is it just a learning? Because my whole thing is that you can learn about anything now on the internet.
I think she likes to test herself against somebody else.
Right, and then yeah, like if you go to college and get a master's degree or a doctorate, you have something to show for it. Like I feel like if I was to do it online, there's a lot of ability to one come across wrong information, and two, you get very distracted online. So like if I'm going to school and I need to do it for a test or a grade or something, then yeah, like you're going to do it. Like if I'm just researching online, like Daniel and I last night, we wanted to know about like dogs and sleeping and stuff. And so Alexa
Don't
told us.
talk about me being a nerd. I'm supposed to sell the cool guy thing.
So you can find out that stuff online, but I think you can take a deeper dive and have discussions with students in your class or, a teacher that, you might be very narrow-minded if you just
Andrea,
find what you want to find online.
Let me blow Tom's mind for a second. When you had to pull because you're still involved in the master's program, but you had to pull some classes back this particular semester because of obviously everything going on, amazing with online learning, school, COVID, my mom's deal, all of that. So you pulled back a little bit. Did you or did you not cry when you had to pull out of your class?
It was like a full breakdown.
She threw herself on the bed. She was crying like a child. Full breakdown because she had to stop her classes.
Well, she's motivated. I
is.
like that aspect of it. And if once you get your master's, that will, I feel like, in the long term, pay off in corporate world. Like you get.
By the time she's with her new husband, they'll be ripe for power coupling.
If I went and got my doctorate, would you guys call me Dr. Dennis?
I would.
I would not.
I would. You know what? I would call you Dr. Wife because I think that'd be a
Dr.
cool.
Wife.
But doctor in actual, I only call medical doctors doctors. All the other ones.
I kinda like that.
I'm a doctor in business or whatever.
I'm a doctorate in business entertainment.
Then I'm just like,
They call me Dr. Boogie Shoes.
I will call you a doctor if you are wearing a lab coat, a stethoscope around your neck.
That's what Maisie wears every afternoon, so you got to throw that out.
You've had to put your finger
in a
hole.
hole.
Yeah, over 100 times,
Yeah.
and then I will call you a doctor.
Over 100.
Man, wow. Requirements for you.
Experience.
Daniel's degree is what's the exact name of your degree?
Interdisciplinary
called
studies.
So they have
called
a
the Gore.
master's degree. They have a master's degree, interdisciplinary studies. So it's like if you want to get a master's degree, but you want to put two things together. So, then you could have a master's degree of interdisciplinary studies, and so
Well, that'll get you.
I'm Master Frank Gore.
That's the
Eventually I
definition
will
of
become
wasting your
Dr.
money.
Frank Gore.
Yeah. It's fascinating.
Well, I love you, babe.
I love you too.
How are the puppies?
Just really sleeping, really just turning over to get a better position
Yeah,
to go to sleep.
I got a new dog now. I got my mom's dog. Oh, it's a hideous monster.
Oh.
It is wild. It doesn't even look like a real dog. It's got one tooth that jags out the side of its mouth. It's got third eyelids that bulge under its eyes, so it's got double eyes, a snarl fang. It's got broken ribs that poke through this. Oh, it's just a mess.
Well, I'm basically running the dentist geriatric home for dogs.
Yeah, our whole house just reeks of old dog. It's gonna be hard to sell that thing when we divorce. I love you.
I love you too. Bye.
Bye. Nerd.
Yeah, I'm always fascinated with, like someone said, if it doesn't make you happy or make you money, why are you doing it? You know what I'm saying? So
That's Adam Carolla, yeah.
Okay. So and it makes sense that
He's been saying that for 20 years.
I was like, I heard that from somewhere. So, of course, that logically it makes sense. But I'm always looking for, the money aspect sometimes is not there, but it's like, why does it make you happy? And that's all subjective to everybody. So learning, going through
Yeah, that
school,
makes her happy.
accomplishment of a master's degree, makes you happy.
Yeah.
So therefore,
It's hard for me though to latch onto that one.
well, it doesn't make you happy.
Yeah, it
Or make you money.
Well,
So
nothing
there's no
though.
point.
There's a very few things that make me happy.
Yeah. That's
And then any of the money I get, if I just spend my money, spending the money makes me happy.
But then when it's gone.
Yeah, but then when it's gone, I'm
Sad.
sad.
But that's exactly why you see some people, you're like, why aren't you doing this? Well, it doesn't make them happy or money.
Right.
It could make them money, but they're not interested in it, so they never do it.
That's
you know
true.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm 38 years old, and I'm now starting to understand human beings because I've always
Just in time for the world to end.
Well, I always get confused or frustrated or like, why isn't this person doing this? why isn't this happening? Don't they see?
Yeah,
and it's like they're not doing it because they're not interested in doing it.
Yeah.
Like, so if you're not interested in doing it, now sometimes like when you're at work, you're forced to do things you don't want to do.
Sure.
Okay, but they're paying you. I mean, outside of work, it's hard to get anybody to do something that if you're not getting paid to do it and you're not interested in doing it, you're not going to do it. You know, and that's it. And then it just took me down to realize
And sometimes, you know, the funny thing about that is sometimes even payment, you know, we know now with people losing jobs and needing jobs. I mean, right now it's never been harder, right? But sometimes even money isn't enough. It almost all comes down to do you like it?
Yeah.
Almost always does. Now, money will be a factor. I'm just saying that the number one, though, would be and then.
Yeah. Hard to do anything you're not interested in. But that's the problem, though. Sometimes you got to do that thing you're not interested in to get to the thing that you're interested in.
That's another thing, and we can't talk about it now because we're running out of time, but I'll leave you with this. There was a guy on the BDM page that also said, well, it wasn't the BDM page, and I can't say who it is. It was a private page that deals with, it was the anxiety page.
Yeah.
We have an anxiety page, and I thought he said something that kind of goes along with what you do, but his was more regimented. He said in order to calm his anxiety, that he finds something every single week to do that puts him out there.
Okay.
And I was like, that's kind of cool.
Like puts him out there in what?
In
aspect?
something that he's just not comfortable.
Right.
Oh,
out
yeah.
of his comfort zone.
Yeah.
That's a way to make yourself stronger and better.
That's almost therapy. That's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
good
yeah.
thing to do.
Yeah, hard to do that though. I mean,
Very hard to do that.
Because you almost have to force yourself to do something. You know, it's like you make a proclamation. It's like quitting smoking, and you tell all your friends and family and everybody on Facebook. Now you're accountable for doing it. You know,
but
it's
you
like,
can sneak them.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's only what they think that matters, right?
Remember when Obama used to go smoke a cigarette out
on
by
the
the basketball court?
courts, yeah.
And people are like, look at him smoking. That was a big deal.
Well, when he did that,
Which is
though-
insane now, looking at what's going on.
Can
I
you
mean,
imagine that? How
after
big
hearing-
like our president smoked a cigarette. Oh my God!
impeach.
What's funny is I remember like having people in my family tell me that like it was a bad thing.
Right.
You know, and I was like, yeah, but you guys
still smoke
Yeah,
inside. What are you
you guys
talking about?
But he's the president.
Yeah,
He's going to be
it's like-
smoking it. I'm like, all
God,
right,
man.
wait for it.
Well, guess what? He's stressed out. Let him have a cigarette every
Hold
once
on,
in a
Head.
while.
Hold my cigarette. Wait till you see what happens. And what happens next? You won't believe. Oh!